establishments were routing packet information to China from the defence installations. And that's verified now. That's quite scary. The first one was like, no, that's crap. No way.
Wow.
And boom.
Absolutely.
No, they are
amazing.
masters of corporate and military espionage. I mean, I think that the cybernetic threat, is in fact the greatest threat that there is to global security. Period.
Oh yeah, that.
And Plagueis concurs.
Pete Ringmaster's a threat to global security.
He is. Why is that?
It's just the music. It just if people listen to it for long enough, it's one of those things. It just. I don't know.
I asked him a long time ago. I said, "The music you play, Pete, is there a real meaning behind it?" And his answer was, "Yeah, to fuck the world up." And I love that. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I love what he plays.
That's really creepy too. It works. Yep.
Go and check out Pete Ringmaster's podcast. It's on the audioburger.com page here, and absolutely fantastic. All right, Baz. So that sounds interesting, man. We're gonna creep them out, spook them out, and give them something to think about at the same time. So that sounds good.
That rhymed. That was perfect.
So are we going to be doing? You said maybe live shows, but do you reckon Silky Steve will come in with you and do live shows with this?
Yeah, that's the plan. I mean, I'm gonna pull in a few names, hopefully from around the world. Maybe dragging a few people off the ATS. I'm talking people like Nick Pope and Leslie Keane and Timothy Good. And if I can really push the belt out, I'm going to try and get George Knapp on from the States, which is like a big deal if I can get him on the show. I'm going to call in a few favours and see what we can do.
Absolutely.
Especially if you're actually dragging them. Like, if you're dragging them around from the UK, it's not such a big deal. But if you have to drag them all the way over from the United States, it's a big deal.
Well, he'd be rendered, basically. Somebody would come into his apartment, put the chloroform on him, stick him on a plane and bring him over here. And we'll chain him up in the studio.
Talk about chloroform. I mean... Is it just me, or does everyone experience the same thing about chloroform, that it makes your bum sore?
That's just you, Johnny.
No,
Johnny, I don't know why your bum is sore.
You.
No, it's just
that
me.
could be the aliens probing you, Johnny.
Could well be. Yeah, that's another story. Okay, moving on. Actually, what I was going to ask you, Baz, is about these names in UFO, in the conspiracy UFO and alien field and all that. You mentioned Nick Pope. You've mentioned Timothy Good. Now, Timothy Good. He's the guy that actually got me into all of this, not inadvertently, I must be. I don't know the guy, I promise you. But he's the guy. I remember him being interviewed by on Radio 1 by Nicky Campbell. And this will be way back in the 80s, late 80s. And I'm sat there, I'm doing this night job at the time, and you know what it's like, I've got to turn the fucking radio on, I get cured of boredom. And there's this Timothy Good guy. He'd just written the book Above Top Secret, actually, so there you go. And it was absolutely riveting to hear this guy talking about what was going on. Of course, he was one of the guys, along with George Knapp, that helped expose the Area 51 type thing and brought a lot of relevance to the Roswell situation. All of these stories that have now seeped into our mainframe of urban myths and silly stories, or whatever you like to call it. But back then, of course, it was all breaking news. It's like, wow, amazing. So Timothy Good, fantastic.
Tim Good's he's an astounding man. He's done a load of research. Tim Good is one of those people that will scare you if you talk to him for long enough, because he is convinced that there is a war going on this planet between our military and aliens.
There's quite a lot of them there that are saying that right now. Quite a lot of them. And
man, I'm just in love with that idea.
Yeah?
I think that sounds cool.
Why are you in love with that idea, you madman?
Because it's completely like the pinnacle of science fiction badassness. Yeah. Love it.
Wow.
Yeah. Let's fight some aliens, dude, with a secret military.
People in the chat room are saying
and
that
they secret weapons and armor. Yeah.
Do you remember? There was a TV program on in the 70s called UFO. Jerry Anderson made it. The guy that made Thunderbirds.
Yeah, Moonbase Alpha and all that. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Basically, Tim Good believes that things are happening along those lines.
Right.
Are we winning?
No.
No. Apparently so. I mean, apparently this war's going on. I've been talking to a guy called fucking name's gone now. I want to talk about him. The name. Oh yeah, that's it. It's called Freeman. Freeman,
Yes.
this guy's, yeah. I've been talking to him on Skype and exchanging notes on Facebook and stuff. And this guy is one of these guys that believes this kind of thing as well. That there is a war, a secret war going on, backed up, of course, by the guys who dug these deep base, underground bases and all the rest of it. Loads and loads. Anyway, I'm not going to go on about it. I will bore you all to death with the way that I talk about it. The best person to listen to would be to Baz, and when we get this show up and running. But honest to God, it's riveting. Sometimes when I listen to some of these stories, it's like, how come this is not on the 10 o'clock news? How come we're not reading this in the national spread?
Yeah. Can I plug something here?
Go for it.
Right, I have a friend called Chase Klazetsky who is a researcher in the States, UFO researcher, Bigfoot researcher, you name it, paranormal. She's all over the place. She's actually started a Facebook page called The Resistance, and the idea behind her Facebook page is that the mainstream media doesn't take a lot of this stuff seriously. You always get the silly little X-Files music and little green men talk and crap like that, and actually there's stuff going on that people should pay attention to. And Chase has set this thing up to try and counter that. It's a very interesting project.
I agree. I do agree. There's something going on. Absolutely. I'm not too sure if it's reptiles and little grey aliens, mind you. I'm going to sit on that fence. I don't know. I'm not too sure. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
Presumably, if there's alien life, it could be bags of gas floating around a gaseous planet.
Well,
You've met my ex. Sorry, couldn't resist getting that one in. Yeah, bags of gas. Well, there's that theories about Jupiter that potentially Jupiter's atmosphere may have life forms in it that are like bags of gas that sort of like sink up and down.
Yeah, there's no
It's
reason
amazing.
to think that life would evolve in the same fashion that it has here on Earth in any even remotely similar fashion. But it will be interesting to find out. I think eventually we will know the answer to that.
Yeah.
Just laughing at Mizzy in the chat room. Laugh out loud at John believing the Queen is a lizard. That's it, because I've had chats with Mizzy about this.
Now, what's funny you should say that.
Go on.
Well, on the show. I'm sorry, Johnny. I'm
No,
taking
go
over.
for it.
Tell me-
No, it's good. It's
On
good.
the show last night, we were talking about this nurse, right? That's dead after all this business about Kate being sick with the baby and all this sort of stuff. And we had a massive discussion on whether she actually committed suicide or whether she has been suicided.
Amazing.
And that's quite interesting, that. And you have to take in a load of other facts into consideration. Like this, she's a nurse in a hospital, major hospital, 2 kids, family, really close-knit, never had any history of psychiatric problems. Somebody talks to the media about Kate, next day she's dead.
Okay.
Dun dun dun.
Exactly. I was just trying to cue my music for that, and it didn't work. Yeah, that and many more, I hasten to add at this point, are many topics I am sure Baz is going to be bringing up, and it deserves its own show, and that's why it's got it. So, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, he's got me all locked in now. I'm fully engaged with Baz. I like it. Very cool.
I tell you what, Baz, you know what I'm like with UFO. I could sit here all night and we could hijack this show and talk UFOs all night and all the rest of it. And there's loads of things I want to talk to you about. And no doubt, if I'm being a good boy, he might bring me on the show one day and on his show one day, and we might do something like this. But I really want to bring you guys to the attention of what Baz is going to be doing here, because this is the kind of stuff that Baz is going to be opening up, and I do agree with you, Baz. I think people need to have an open mind as to what's going on out there, rather than just poo-hoo it all away.
The world's a really strange and mysterious place, and you can close your eyes to it, or you can actually have a look round and see what's going on, and some of it will scare the crap out of you. It scares me, some of it does.
Yeah. I love Missy's attitude in the chat room. Straight away, she's full, and I know Pete would be the same if he was here. It'd be like, rubbish, what's the matter with it? And that's what keeps it healthy, because we need two sides, don't we? We've got to have the two sides, because that's what it's all about.
I've got to can I defend my position with Mizzy a second?
If
just a
you
second.
really need
Go
to,
on.
my man, go for it. Go on.
Okay. There was a guy called David Kelly. You guys might remember him. He was the guy who had the expose on Tony Blair and his weapons of mass destruction dossier for the Iraq War. David Kelly was suicided He was found in a forest with his wrists slashed horizontally, which is not the way that you do it if you're doing it yourself. He was found full of painkillers and medication, which suggests that he couldn't have slashed his wrists because he was dosed up to his eyeballs. He was found with a shotgun 3 feet away from him that he couldn't reach it. And there was no blood at the scene. And yet he'd slashed his wrist. Think about that one. That was the British establishment suiciding somebody for the sake of doing it.
For the sake of it. This is something that needs looking into, definitely. Baz is your man to look into it. What I'm going to be doing is setting up email addresses for our presenters within the next week, and they're going to be giving you the email address that you can write to maybe suggest topics or to shout out stuff that you want them to play, or whatever it is you want them to do, as long as it was within reason. No, fuck it. Tell them anything, and we'll be giving them that within this next week. And so Baz will have his own audioburger.com email address that you can write and yell and scream to, and I'm sure he'll reply one way or t'other. All sounds good. Going to play some music. We're going to come back to Mr. Rango the dog, aka Matthew Meadows. It's all coming up. Stick with us. We'll be right back. And we're back. There you go. That's Shades of Grey with the gorgeous Keith Patterson over there in the States, doing extremely well for himself. And it's really good to hear his music. Shades of Grey. No doubt we'll have some more music from Keith in the new year. We'll have to go and badger him about that. That's Pete's job, and I'll have to get Pete to badger him about that, because I was going to say Pete's good at badgering, but that sounds wrong. Right, okay. I'm going to talk to Matthew Meadows right now, so bear with us, ladies and gents. It's going